I do want to start off by saying that I will always be one of you. I am one of you. Life is different for me right now, but we focus this on helping you find skills and ways to make this journey easier, rather than medical topics, which we'll have lots of seminars on all those also. So I'm going to workshop this a little bit more, and I want, feel free to interject. I do this presentation in three sections. One is becoming a brainiac. The second part is, I call it the Caregiver trilogy. You're now the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, if you can relate to that. And the third one is I respectfully disagree. And that's taking control of your own healthcare and making choices for you, what's right for you and your family. So what I'm hoping that you'll take away from this is to be able to have the confidence in trusting your own intuition and making your own choices as you, throughout this journey, make those decisions. This disease your life changes on a dime. I mean, you all know this. But the one thing about it is as awful and scary as a lot of it is, many beautiful things happen throughout the whole process. There is phenomenal growth that happens to you as individuals, and that happens to you as a couple, and that happens to you with whoever your God is. It is an experience that, as sad as it is for me to not have Dave with me anymore, I wouldn't have changed. I know that sounds really crazy, but I mean that. So I'm hoping that you can make this situation as positive for your family as humanly possible. I like to start with what I call the ultimate brain tumor starter kit. And it sounds really elementary, but it saved me. Now, I am not a scientist. I was a fine arts major. So when you get a diagnosis, you have an inoperable brain tumor. It's a oligodendroglioma. I always say oligo. I can't even say it still. Oligodendroglioma. I have a what? And the vocabulary that comes along with this whole thing is as you know, crazy. So these are the tools I suggest, and they're when I get a little bit more money in the kitty here for extra things, we're gonna manufacture these and give them to everybody. But one is a business card holder. You know those small business card holders? And it's not just to keep track of all the your doctors, but what happens is that you go to all kinds of doctors. We're gonna cover that in a little bit. And when you're at your surgeon, the records have to be sent to your neuro-oncologist. When you're at your neuro-oncologist, the records have to be sent, to your neuroradiologist, and on and on and on. And if you're anything like me, I mean, really look at these notes. She had a wonderful PowerPoint presentation, and my scraps are everywhere. So I got a small business card holder, and I never left home without it. And I collected all the cards, and I was able to have that information right on me so the doctor's offices can take that information and send reports to my family doctor, whoever it may be. So that's the first thing I recommend. The second thing I recommend is a CD case. Now, in my day, when we were diagnosed in 2000, big MRIs were the thing. Now, I'm a film kind of girl. I always liked the films rather than the CDs, and they weren't really as popular as they are now. So I had one of those big art cases, the artists carry to carry the MRIs in. Now, you know how crazy it is with those things slipping all over the place? Well, an art case really changes your life because you just stick them in there. You always have the films there. One of the things that's really important, we'll get to that when we talk about neuroradiologists, is the ability for a doctor to look at several sets of the films, to look at progression as opposed to different radiologist reports. They can look at the films themselves. Nowadays, CDs are really popular. So if you prefer CDs, you get a little CD case. That's it, and you just keep them all in there. You have all your MRIs. You leave them. You leave what? You take your brain tumor. You take your little booklet with all your cards. You take your CD case. And thirdly, here's technology. You take the small tape recorder. Now, when we were first diagnosed, we were told I went top docs, three, four. I'm not a 2 opinion person. I'm like 3, 4, 5 opinion person. And we'll get to institutional philosophy, and you'll see why I say that. But I'm a believer that you should, even if you love your doctor, you should try to get 3 opinions if you can. And you're under stress. Your life has just changed. Everything's a mess. It's an emotional roller coaster. A little tape recorder. You record your session with your doctor. When you're it's an important discussion, not just to check up to look at the scar, but if you had surgery, but when you're finding out what the next step is. This is my personal opinion. If your doctor won't let you record them, then maybe you should just think about if that's the right doctor for you or not. I never had a doctor tell me I couldn't record them, and I was at top docs all over the country. So I had a very positive experience like that. Then you take the little tape, and this is a place where you can ask somebody to help you. My sister transcribed the conversation for me, and then you have in writing, word for word, that conversation. Because first of all, you're not used to the vocabulary yet. You don't know what's going to happen to you, and you don't take it all in. And it's hard to take notes. And this way, it's all there in black and white. Then your 4th part of your Ultimate Brain Tutor Starter Kit is a binder. As crazy and elementary as that sounds, a binder to put all those in and all the records. And you have it all together in one place. You take those transcripts and you can put them in there, and then you can flip through them and you can compare what did this doctor say, what did that doctor say. You can talk about it with each other, and then you can make a choice. We got very different opinions. My husband was determined inoperable. His tumor was in the insula of the brain, the inside the brain, and at that time, very few people have even dared to go into that territory. We had top surgeons say it was inoperable. We had another one that said he could do it. Well, we had 2 that said he could do it. And then it wound up having to go to the neurosurgeon of the century, who was 75 years old when he did my husband's surgery, who was the only man in the world that can do it. That was after a long process. But my point being is they all had different opinions, but they had really good opinions. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It means that their approach is different. And you have to look at what risks are you willing to take? What is it that's best for you, for your family? What is the doctor's complication rate? This is a question that you need to ask. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. You have the right to ask that question. In my case, I asked one doctor. Well, one doctor said, I won't touch him. Okay. These are all, again, top university doctors, just do brain tumors. Another doctor, he said that he would. I said, how many have you done in this region of the brain? And he said 12. I said, what's your complication rate? And he wouldn't tell me, okay, which is his prerogative. Next doctor, he did 31 of these. What's your complication rate? 4, and I don't know why. I mean, he was honest with me. But we're getting the real information then, because it could have affected my husband's speech and his hearing. So what's your complication rate? 4, I don't know why. They went to rehab. Also, I have a woman in the hospital right now from Portugal. She has the tumor in the same location as your husband. I can set up for you if you'd like to go speak with her. And we did. And we went and we met with this woman, and she gave my husband and I, her, and she was walking and talking and doing wonderful. Those are the questions that you need to ask, and those are why you need your binder and your tape recorder, because it's a lot to take in, and then you need to sit down and analyze it. When you pick out a car, you shop around. You don't pick out the first car. So these 4 tools are really, really good to have, to always have with you, and to build your information source for what comes next.